Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to this channel. Give this video a like.
Podcast below in the description. I need you to check that out as well.
All right, John. What are the Niners cooking up at quarterback? That is the question that Jeremy Fowler of ESPN is trying to get to the bottom of. The Niners are up to something at quarterback, he wrote. They had extensive talks with Flacco, who hit it off with Kyle Shanahan during a visit last week before he ultimately chose Philly. Rumors persist that Jacksonville quarterback Gardner Minshew II could be in their plans via a trade. Gardner making like $850,000. So, this also goes into the conversation we're having the other day about how bizarre the quarterback market is right now. But do you buy that the Niners are up to something at quarterback? Are you picking up what Jeremy Fowler's putting down?
Well, I've had it red flagged. If Jimmy was 100% coming back and they were not worried about taking a quarterback with not the 12th pick, but potentially trading up, to me, it would have made complete sense to offer Trubisky. He got $2.5–3 million from I think 2.5 from the Bills, 4.5 just to have your backup, right? Or Flacco, who just signed with the Eagles, I think for 3.5. Now, it is home for Joe, right? He's from from Philadelphia. It was a big deal going home. I saw he said during his press conference, if you text him for tickets, he'll block you. Like big. I do wonder if there's a business side for Jeffrey Lurie to bring a guy like that, get him around, get some good, like Steve Kerr says, get some good vibes.
If you're Joe, maybe you see an opportunity to play some games too.
Yeah, but I would say if the Niners were going to give you a little bit more money, wouldn't you be seeing opportunity here too? And with Kyle Shanahan, and they didn't pull the trigger on either. And it'd be one thing if both guys got, like, Mitch had got 6, right? You're like, well, Josh Allen's still on his rookie contract, and then Joe had got 6 or 7. I'd be like, yeah, I get it. I wouldn't love paying those guys 6 or 7. They got nothing, guy. They didn't get much money. And my whole thing is not, I had heard, and we've talked about this, and I've mentioned it here about them potentially trading up to 3. That has not happened yet. But I can't imagine. I don't believe that they're in love with Jimmy. Like, they've really pushed that through their people, right? How much they love Jimmy, We all saw it. A lot of people come in from the outside like, oh, they're saying they really love Jimmy. We witnessed it. They were getting their ass kicked, and he's up there fucking taking notes. Like, I'm sorry, I've been around enough football coaches. They did not love that. And when I say they, I mean the head coach. He was miserable. We could see it on his face.
Yeah. We also saw what happened. To me, I always go back to I thought some of the criticism after the Minnesota NFC Championship game was too much, right? But
for Jimmy?
Yeah, for Jimmy. Or just really the way he played in the playoffs.
Did throw a bad pick to Eric Hendricks in that game.
He did, but just remember the stat that kept how many passes, how many completions.
8 attempts in the NFC Championship.
So, but...
Which is pretty nuts. Will that stat ever be broken for a team that wins the NFC Championship? Guy 8 attempts? Probably not.
Only if we time travel backwards.
Yeah.
I didn't think that criticism was as valid, but we did see what happened at the way they played at the end of the first half of the Super Bowl. To me, was a real signal of something. But I think if
we wanted to rewind, I agree. Like the criticism is like, what was Kyle just supposed to throw it to be like, see, I can throw it? Like it was working. Now, where to me it was symbolic is Jimmy didn't have to do a fucking thing, right? I mean, you do 8 handoffs in an NFC Championship that you win by double digits that's unheard of. It's unprecedented in modern day time, and it will never probably happen again. So it's like, if your criticism was like Jimmy didn't have to do dick, that's true. If it's Jimmy sucks, well, on that given game, I can't blame them. Like Peyton Manning would have kept handing the ball off. But I think their actions now this offseason are... And I know Coward has the theory of like they've just spent all this money because they're going to get a rookie quarterback, like, high in the draft, and just have a guy on a cheap contract. Because next year, a lot of their money that they've spent, like Trent Williams and even like Juszczyk, like their cap numbers, like Kittle's cap number, it's just a lot higher next year. And if you have a guy, a rookie quarterback, even if he's a top 5 pick that you trade up to get, he still ultimately makes $5 or $6 million, right? At the end of the day, Jimmy's cap number is in the $20 million mark. Right.
So, okay, I like a lot of this theory. Let me see if I can shoot a hole in it, though.
The Minshew thing, whatever.
Well, I want to get to Minshew, though. I just want to try and shoot a hole in this, what you're saying, though, first.
That they would have signed a backup quarterback right now if they were in with Jimmy.
Yes.
Because the two guys they had the opportunity to sign, they literally brought Flacco out. And I think, listen, I don't love it. But when I read that Kyle likes Joe Flacco, it is very believable. Right?
But doesn't Flacco make more sense? Doesn't it make sense to pay Joe Flacco if you're gonna if you're looking for Jimmy's backup? Jimmy makes a nice chunk of change. It makes sense that Gardner Minshew would be Jimmy's backup because he's cheaper, but Jimmy's unreliable. Gardner can play. Flacco would make more money, or Trubisky would make more money. Don't those guys actually make more sense with a rookie quarterback than Minshew, who feels like he makes more sense with Garoppolo? What do you think of that theory? Tell me. Go ahead. That's my
man. To me, it's just about cost. It's not about sense necessarily because, like if you draft, let's just use the name, and I think this guy pretty consistently gets thrown, Justin Fields. That guy's playing, and his character and everything is, I think, viewed as really, really high. You just can handle it, right? You get a guy. Part of it, your mentor is Kyle. Like Kyle's the guy to hold your hand. I read one rumor that had been floating out there about the Jags is that Urban wants to bring in Alex Smith. Like that's going to be the backup for Trevor. Trevor's going to start, but just have Alex around him. And I go, Urban's got a lot going on. He's already complaining about free agency. He's new to this. It's harder for him just to hold Trevor's hand in just NFL life. He doesn't fucking know it, right? Where to me, when I go, you bring in a rookie quarterback, your backup, to me, just has to have some experience. I expect who's going to teach him how to do everything? Kyle, Wes Welker, McDaniels.
I'm talking more from a financial standpoint, though, right? Like, doesn't Flacco make more sense as a more expensive quarterback if your starting quarterback is a rookie quarterback?
Yeah, but I just think that you can get even cheaper. You're like, I just think Minshew, let's just say they're, at this point in time, they're pretty equal talents.
I think Minshew would be bad for Jimmy in some ways if Jimmy was still their quarterback. Like, this is another area where I think Minshew...
Well, a couple games, people like just throwing Minshew.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I don't even think it'd be that crazy because...
Well, no, he's 37 touchdowns, 11 picks in his career, 63%.
Here would be a reality, whoever the backup would be, whether it's if Jimmy survives this whole deal and they end up with like Slater or just, some defensive lineman.
Rashawn Slater, okay.
Yeah, with one of their picks. Is that whether it's Flacco, it could be Trubisky, it could be Minshew, it could be whoever they end up bringing. Jimmy's leash with just the fans would be as slim as possible. Like he would be one game, a couple picks, week one. Even if they won, like I don't know if I can watch this, right? And I think it would be validated because it's like Jimmy. I've never seen a guy who legitimately had a pretty solid Super Bowl season, right? And I didn't want to say carry the Niners Super Bowl, but it had moments where they needed him to go right now in 2021, end of March. If you just said Jimmy just goes away, no one will skip a beat.
It
ended pretty fast for Jimmy.
I thought Jimmy Garoppolo was going to come back next year and be better than he was the year before.
But part of it is like I think Carr's a good example. If you're just a talented guy and you just play all the time, it's easy to just like everyone can take some deep breaths sometimes. When you just disappear, people remember the negative stuff. They say you remember fondly the good stuff. I think sometimes with quarterbacks, unless you're like a Rodgers or a Russell, like an elite guy, it just kind of comes back to like, yeah, maybe this guy's not that good. You just start thinking that because you then witness losses, right? Because your backup quarterback's usually going to suck, especially in the Niner situation when it was Beathard and Mullins, that you assume I think Jimmy's viewed now worse than he actually is, but that's part of comes with the territory when you just go up to the suite with a high ankle for 8 games.
After you weren't good. It'd be one thing if he looked really good and then got hurt, but he had looked bad and then got hurt, right? That was
and
part
then
of
even
it.
When he was hurt, he was worse.
The heat was on, even though it was one game in. The heat was on after week 1 last year because he didn't look good.
They lost at home to Arizona. It was a bad loss. Because not like it'd be one thing. It's like, perfect storm. Arizona dropped 45. I remember thinking like, God, is Arizona even that good? And like Jimmy's like skipping balls. Like this is a disaster.
Got Kittle hurt.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's just all Jimmy's equity with the fans. If it was at like 90, it feels like it's at like 10. So I think the Niners, they have the ability, like if they just kick Jimmy to the curb for Trey Lance, Gardner Minshew, no one will be sad. Besides like 5 people on Twitter. You agree there? Like however Jimmy's forced out of town with a rookie and a Minshew, no one will blink.
No.
Which is pretty wild because I think everyone does understand like how hard it is to get these quarterbacks. I think it just gets back to reflecting if you can't play, guy, and I don't mean like actually like be a good or bad player. I just mean actually play.
Yeah.
You kind of become irrelevant to fans. They're like, well, I can't even depend on you to show up when I sit on my couch for 4 hours and consume the team.
Part of it,
You're doing what I'm doing.
I know. But, well, and now I turn on this TV and I know my team probably doesn't have a chance today. We're not playing for anything because I think part of that reaction that you're talking about would also come from the fact that if you're talking about a rookie quarterback, just anytime rookie quarterbacks just come with a ton of joy and excitement and anticipation and optimism, and wait till you see our guy. And it would be something.
Hope's a powerful thing.
Hope's a powerful thing, and hope with Kyle Shanahan, right? You're saying we have not seen Kyle Shanahan in this type of situation as the 49ers head coach before, and we think this would be his strength. We want to see him do this thing that is his strength: work with quarterbacks, develop quarterbacks, QB collective, barefoot coaching. Here we go. That would be a big part of it, and you'd be potentially talking about if you drafted Fields. I mean, you're talking about drafting Ohio State's quarterback. You're talking about drafting a star. You're not talking about drafting. Wait till you see how we develop this guy we got in the 4th round, who you never saw play in college.
It's
not the same. High. Buzz would be huge. Now I'll also say like who their backup quarterback is. I don't. If that guy plays, we got a problem. I mean, now Jacksonville wasn't good. He went 6-6 2 years ago.
That to me, why if you can get Justin Fields, I would go for a guy making $800,000. I like that's where I like the Minshew. Just start loading up other places. Give yourself the the freedom to cook the books,
even if it costs you a 6th-round pick.
Yeah, I don't think Minshew has much value right now. I guess my theory, or that wasn't my theory. I think I read it a couple weeks ago. I know I read it. About Alex going to the Jags. Do you think CJ limits that, or just like if you do sign Alex, he might just not be able to play with the leg anymore, so you just also got to have another backup?
Yeah, that's weird. I wonder if Alex,
because Balky's an Alex guy too, right? Remember, he was around Alex a lot.
Yeah, but I don't know that the opportunity is going to present itself. I wonder if Alex is having a hard time going. I just proved myself in his mind. I'm not signing up to just be somebody's grad assistant.
That's part of the
deal.
Well,
I know. I wonder if he would have a hard time with that.
You think Richard's having a hard time right now?
Yes, I do. Which actually leads us to another conversation.